and he had to go back and pass those ideas through God knows how many different people. They're all in a power play, bro. They've got to prove their position by crapping on you and crapping on their idea because they know better. I would not want to be a talent, bro, trying to get an idea past creative today. That sounds like a nightmare.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Shelton Benjamin saying said a romantic storyline with him and Paige was dropped. He said the idea was I will start off as kind of her bodyguard, but I think it was going to turn romantic, and that was all. They were all set to do that. Then it just didn't happen. Speaking of ideas, that just kind of goes all over the place. That was a thing. It dropped. Vince, your thoughts on this, and how often were pitches done like from the creative staff and then someone gets excited and then they just kibosh it when you were there?
Well, bro, that doesn't sound like a bad idea to me at all. It's the bodyguard. I mean, it's straight out of Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston. That's what it is. And that's not a bad idea. I think that it's a miscast. I don't see that picture with those two, but I think that's an excellent idea. Chris, when we were writing, when I was writing with Ed, when I was writing at TNA, when I was writing at WCW, I mean, bro, like I was the head writer. So like if I wanted to do something, we were doing it. There was no committee to kibosh anything. Like we were doing it. And I think that's part of the problem now is there are so many, chefs in the kitchen that there are probably good ideas that are getting left on the table because you probably got to pass it through 10 different people. Bro, that's why I finally left TNA. Dixie had created so many layers that I was spending the majority of my time trying to convince people of what we needed to do. That's how all my energy was being spent. I wasn't going to do that anymore, bro. I knew what we needed to do. I'm not going to try to convince other people that don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of that going on, bro, because it's all control and it's all a power play and it's all positioning. So if somebody doesn't want you to get ahead, they're going to put the kibosh on your ideas. That's a huge problem. But this idea is a good idea, bro. I just don't see those two in those roles.
So I can't even put a time frame on when this could have been a thing. I mean, Paige came back she stopped wrestling when she got injured and she was gone for the rest of her WWE. I mean, she stopped wrestling for the rest of her WWE run, came back in AEW to wrestle. So had to be several years ago. So this was like 8 or so years ago. Who would you have put in those roles?
I would just have to see. I would just have to refresh my memory of who was on the roster at the time. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Check out BrainBuster, the daily quiz that tests your WWE knowledge with winning streaks, stats, and more. It's time to see if you're up for the challenge.
EC3, what do you think about this pitch from Shelton Benjamin and just your experience on ideas being pitched, getting, basically canceled, coming up, getting canceled, and so many wrestlers, unfortunately, going through that mental gymnastics of hope, despair.
Wrestlers are insane narcissists, present company included. But first off, I think the idea is awesome. That sounds super cool. 8 years ago, who's to say when it was pitched? One thing about ideas is words get said, ideas are spoken. Are we over analyzing something that was said one time in jest? Where in an interview, Shelton's like, once they actually pitched an idea where I'd be Paige's bodyguard and become romantic. And that's like, when I'm talking with talent and things like that, like, it'd be a good idea. Like, what if you did this and that happened? And then that goes away. It's already forgotten about because it's just an idea in the heat of the moment where months go by. Hey, we're doing that idea. Like, they already think because it's been spoken, it is set in stone and it is printed, it is laid out, it is going to happen. Where ideas are often just spoken in conversation, and only until there's like truly tangible work to putting it together, creating it and putting it out there, should a talent even consider it being an actual idea. So I think, I'm not saying that isn't the case for this, that maybe it got to that point but was pulled, which harkens back, everything Vince said is true about that. But a lot of times too, and especially in interviews, clips, headlines, it's a good headline. Like, do we know the true nature of how close it was to becoming an actual idea, or is it just a lot of ideas get said, and this is one I brought up in the heat of a moment in an interview that was kind of funny, and then we're sitting here talking about it for 10 minutes where it was a 5-minute conversation 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he also talked about how the Hurt Business was supposed to come back, and it never came back. And
yeah,
so
that conversation could have been as simple as one of the writers seeing Shelton catering, talking a little bit, and it'd be sweet if the Hurt Business came back. And Shelton would be like, yeah, that'd be cool. And then conversation ended and nothing ever happened. I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm saying with the ideas, they are just so easily spoken, but like not truly tangible to even worry about unless they're in the midst of being portrayed.
Vince, for the Hurt Business to have so much potential, basically had some random pointless breakup, and then be, according to Shelton Benjamin, be considered to be returned. Why do you think they nixed the idea again of them even returning, in your opinion?
Because, Chris, it's kind of what I said earlier, bro. And today, I would not want to be a talent, and I don't envy the talent because there's so many layers they have to get an idea through. Mm-hmm. Bro, back then during the Attitude Era, a talent came to me with an idea. Period. End of story. If I thought it was a good idea, then I'd pitch that idea to Vince. If I thought, it had, remnants of a good idea, I would try to add to it. But they came to me. I can't imagine, bro. And Chris, I got to tell you, man, I've dealt with current WWE talent that have, told me how the system works. I know EC3 just worked with Elijah overseas. I was talking to Elijah when he was working for the WWE, and I pitched him some great ideas. We collaborated. Now, when he had to go back and pass those ideas through God knows how many different people, they're all in a power play, bro. They've got to prove their position by crapping on you and crapping on their idea because they know better. I would not want to be a talent, bro, trying to get an idea past creative today. That sounds like a nightmare to me, bro.
Yeah. Which is, to a point that EC3 made, which is probably one of the reasons why people don't want to rock the boat so much, because it's like, okay, well, finally I got something. Okay. Am I good? Am I clear to go on television? Okay, I can go. Even if it's Fire and Ice or something that's not really exciting. Okay, at least I get television time here.
And I'm sure EC3 too, they're all right. Because the most important thing, bro, I would say as a writer is consistency. Mm-hmm. When Brian James was not on television as the Road Dogg, he would come up to me every single week at TV. And his presentation was, he wasn't being a pain in the backside. He just really wanted a spot and to be on TV. So his consistency, every time I'm writing the show, he's in the back of my mind. So like now subconsciously, I'm looking for something for him. EC3, how many times, I can't imagine how many people just tap out there. You know what I'm saying, bro? Where they've offered so many ideas that they thought through. They know they're good ideas. They know they were sound ideas. They get shot down to the point of like just waving the white flag, bro. I guarantee you there are so many people there that fall under that category.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I was one of them too. So just what's the point? There this phrase we would have in the locker room. It was just like, nothing matters. So that was back when I was there, though. Maybe it's better now. But hey, we have this idea and this angle. We have this context. These characters have this history. Oh, you're a tag team today. Why? Nothing matters. That's why. Nothing matters.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Horrible place. Horrible mindset. If I have any regret, it was that I adopted that mindset. But it is what it is.